leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss. Now you counting stars. Should've practiced more. Should've hit the mask, get out there more. Claim that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much. World combat sports. Talking way too much. World combat sports. Talking way too much. World combat
Yo, shout out to the hottest chat in the MFing game. A-Side official. No negotiation needed, period. You already know WCS is back in the building. I want to give a big salute to the fallen men and women, comrades globally who serve this country. You know what I'm saying? Those of you that sacrificed everything, ultimately your own lives, and in certain situations, that's a residual effect of being in the military. And those of you that's just aged and have since passed away, I mean, to all my comrades, man, salute to y'all. You know, I try to tell people and educate them all the time that Memorial Day is not thank you for your service. You know, it's memorial. Okay, it's memorial. You're basically recognizing those who are no longer here or with us. So, you know what I'm saying? Big salute to them. Rest peacefully. To the topic at hand, I know it's a lot of y'all that's out there that's talking about, I'm talking about y'all wet right now. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just floating. Y'all swimming in liquor. If I know like anybody else knows it, some of y'all already eating right now. I know some of you all been drinking. That started yesterday because a lot of people are out of work. I know my people. I know how they get out. I know a lot of you all are feeling real good right now. Like Samson, goddammit. Like a Marvel comic. Like you goddamn was sipping on vibranium. I know y'all feeling good. We're going to talk about Travis Hunter and his decision. Notice I said decision, but first I got to get to Jerron freaking Ennis. Oh, yeah, I got to get to Jerron Ennis and his so-called fans. You know, I want to talk to Jerron Ennis right quick. And I want to speak to those who was out here, you know, pretty much doing volunteer work as they always do, being a somewhat a group of agitators, agenda pushers. Word has it, once again, I put this out there, but no need to give me any credit for anything. It's all good. I was up here explaining to people about Jerron Ennis not having the sustainability to continue at 147 pounds to complete his declaration of becoming welterweight undisputed. Boxing Scene put out an article which the title reads, Jerron Ennis unsure of making 147 pounds again, even for Teofimo Lopez fight. Now do y'all get what I was trying to tell you all about? All the 17 times, the 17 times, the 17 times. He never had any plans of taking a big fight. That's why he didn't call out Norman Jr. He wanted a fight that he know he could win and get a fight in his hometown so he can continue to be in the good graces and building up the Philly backyard, which is nothing wrong with that. Boxing is a business at the beginning and at the end of each day. Boxing is a business. And I always say it's good for fighters to go out here and make money, especially if it's going to bleed over to generational wealth, right? But let's cut away the nonsense. I've always said that Jerron Ennis is getting a little big for 147 pounds. A lot of other people were saying it, but they just wanted to damn trolley around and say, well, you know, he can do it. He can fight this fight and then come back and fight that. You're pushing his tenure to campaign at welterweight all the way into 2026. Do you know each year that approaches, you know, a fighter that's not considerably old yet, but yet he's big, his body is grown. It takes a lot. Do you remember when WCS said, I'm curious to know what his performance value will look like outside of the IBF rehydration clause? And he went in there and fought a guy that wasn't an absolute killer, but that was one of the better performances of his career, going up there for a unification, not having the restriction of the IBF rehydration clause. And he looked good. That wasn't illogical to say, right? I was on point with that. Now that he is a unified champion, he don't have the rehydration clause. This is what Boxing Scenes had to say. Jerron Ennis is considering a move up to junior middleweight despite a lucrative offer to face Teofimo Lopez. Ennis is coming off a career best win performance against Stantionis. When they say career best win, could you please cease to stop telling me that he had other fights that was just equally as competitive with Karen? Nobody was looking for Karen. For real, like an old pair of Payless shoes. Nobody was looking for him. He just happened to make Karen more important than he should be. Moving on. Ennis is coming off a career best win performance against Stantionis, stopping the Lithuanian to unify the IBF and WBA welterweight titles. It is no secret that Ennis struggles to make the 147-pound limit, and there had been talk of a move up to junior middleweight prior to the contest with Stantionis. Ennis decides to stick around at welterweight in order to add more belts to his collection. But after successfully unifying the division against Stantionis, it is unlikely he will add a third 147-pound title anytime soon. The WBO champion Brian Norman Jr. is facing Jen Sasaki, and Mario Barrios is taking on the 46-year-old Manny Pacquiao. There are talks regarding Ennis facing WBO junior welterweight champion Lopez, but Hearn wonder, how wise is it? Would it be to try and make the 147 limit again for such a contest? Quote, I think the big question is whether Boots stay at 147. If I'm honest, Hearns told Boxing Scene, the Stantionis performance was great. The kind of medical stats weren't as great. But it's difficult because I think Boots feel like he's going to perform so much better up at 154. The reason that he wanted to stay there originally is to unify. And now he's done. He's done it. It's a tough decision. We like the Teofimo Lopez fight. But I think if he stays at 147, he'll fight Teofimo Lopez. And if he doesn't, obviously, you'll see him move to 154. With Brian Norman fighting coming up in July out here in Japan, and Barrios fighting Pacquiao, the unifications aren't really there. Okay, they aren't really there, people. Boots is a bit of a one-off, really, he continued. I say he's not money motivated. Of course he is. But he's all about legacy. And he's prepared to do that to his body to make 147, but for the unification. So the Teal fight is a little bit different, but it's a big fight. So we'll have to make a decision soon. Ennis hired a nutritionist and an aide to help him make the weight more efficiently for his bout with Stantionis. Ennis looked huge on fight night, far bigger than Stantionis, and dominated him. However, Hearn revealed that making the weight was still a struggle, y'all. Still a struggle for you self-centered fight fans that continue to think that this man is going to stay down there and maneuver, navigate himself all through the 147-pound division as big as he is. About to be 28 years old. I mean, that's preposterous to think that he won't get knocked out or he won't take a L. He is a big 147-pounder. And for him to go in there with a monster puncher like Norman Jr., it would not be in his best interest. The article goes on to say it was probably not as bad as Karen fight. But I think a lot of people point out during the week how tight he looks at the weight, he said. It wasn't like he was dead on the scales of Stantionis, not at all. But it's a massive ask to keep repeatedly bringing himself down to 147. And it's not just, can you make it? It's, can you make it and perform at your best? Didn't I say that? I said, it's something about Boots where he's not able to stay shifting gears throughout the fight. He has to take time off, show out, play around to the crowd, do his Tony Harrison, and then get back in the groove. But they said it right here. The most powerful version of himself. Is Boots able to give us the most powerful version of himself? Stand at 147. He hired a nutritionist. Y'all, for the Stantionis fight. What about all the rest of them? Why Stantionis? I mean, your people up there saying that you're gonna go out here and knock people out, and they just talking. I've been saying all along, he's not gonna be able to stay there and unify 147 pounds. He's too big. It goes on to say, which is quite bizarre because I thought it was unbelievable, but that is what you're going to get from him at 154 in those weights. You're just going to get someone with a lot more power, even though he's got it at 147. So I look at it like this. For boxing fans that's out there, there's no need to keep on talking as if, someone ducked your run Ennis. That's an easy way out. It's a real big, it's a real red flag when a fighter don't call out another champion. When the fans are out here doing all the call outs themselves, but really the fighter himself is not really making any move towards calling out that fighter to make the big fight after you get out of the championship. So therefore the opportunity was there, but it's clear that they're really not trying to take a hard 147-pound fight because they knew he having a tough weight cut. He's going in there playing it safe. If he was to skip rope and a little bit more and stay down there at 147, I'm sure he'll probably try to fight Barrios instead of Norman Jr. Period. So y'all can stay close to that situation. it's been time for Ennis to move up to 154 pounds. Let's see what decision he makes. That's all I got to say. Let's see what his mental picture is going to be moving forward. Because right now, I believe he has a bit more self-doubt than his fans want to give him credit for. I think they just want to keep on hyping it and hyping it and hyping it. You know what I'm saying? And making it seem like it's something that that's in the corner of Norman Jr. They don't. No. They don't want a tough fight at 147 and they having a tough weight cut. They don't want that because people believe that Boots is going to go in there and be able to look like he did against Stantionis. No, Stantionis' style was sublime, so it happened. No real manipulation had to happen, just style against style, period. Moving on, man. Moving on. Just keep your eyes, peeled. I want to get on Travis Hunter right quick. And believe me, I'm not going to dip in this man's personal business too much, but this is what I have to say about the second pick of the NFL draft. Okay. This man just signed a lucrative deal worth millions, and he has a extensive backstory with his girl. Now this is this man's business. In that sport, they experience women like this all the time, from all walks of life, man. I mean, they have what is considered back when I was coming up to be called the groupies. You know what I'm saying? The standbys. Man, the tags goes on and on what we know them to be. I'm not saying that's who he's with, but they have an in-depth history of some crazy stories with them. How Travis used to wait outside in the car for her to leave the club. I don't know, man. I'm trying to find out without assuming a lot. But this is what I want to talk about. Should he have fumbled instead? What I mean by that, 22 years old and you married. Man, looking back on the 20s, man, it's tough to stay married when, you're out here in life and it's so much to experience. Now, of course, that's different for college. Sometimes people go to college and they get burnt out. Sometimes women get burnt out. Sometimes men get burnt out in college. They just have their pick of the litter and they just keep going and going and going. And by the time they get out of college and get a regular job, they ain't really trying to do anything because they just done had their open schedule in college, partying, just doing what they was doing, living free and unaccountable. Just living free and unaccountable, right? But this is what I hope for him. I hope that they don't end up like Steve McNair. I hope this female is not that type of chick. Looking at her, she gives me a little bit of, it's just something about her that doesn't say she's willing to be with him for the rest of her life. Now, that's a lot that can go on in the next 10 to 15 years. But me, to be truthful, even though this is not my situation, I'm just talking about it from the outer window. I will be impressed if they make it to 5 years. The reason why is because it's just so quick. I mean, he goes up there and get her, a $700,000 vehicle, which, it's splurging at the end of the day. He got the money to do that. $700,000 with a $50 million contract. I mean, that ain't nothing, man. That's easy. And plus, Travis is highly talented. He's a highly talented guy. I hope he stays healthy the whole time. And he has an incredible career. But one thing that can halt and put a crutch on a man's career is a woman. You know what I'm saying? Especially in his position. The one thing that can put a halt to all that is a woman. Real talk. And I'm gonna be honest. I don't know where this is gonna end up, but it's just something. It's just something that I really don't want to speak too in depth about, because why forecast negativity on somebody else's situation? I don't like that. But I'm only speaking from the exterior aesthetics of what I've seen and heard about these two. All I'm saying is it's a little bit tricky for me to be confident in saying this is going to last 5 years. It's something about the whole no prenup. That's their decision, man. That's Travis' decision to say no prenup. He's going all in and he doesn't care. But you know what's gonna show a little bit of progress as a wife, to see if they have any kids in the next 5 to 7 years. Are they gonna pop out at least 2 kids while they're young? You know what I'm saying? Get them out the way. Get them kids out the way. Are they gonna start popping out kids? Is she gonna be more worried about her body and going around how she looks around Travis, you know, or she's going to be more concerned about how she's going to be going out with her girlfriends, driving in her new G-Wagon? I don't know. But it's up to them at the end of the day. I wish them nothing but the best. I'm not going to frown upon Travis like some people. They frowning on this dude outside of his talent. Man, let that man live. Damn, God, you know, you up there getting mad at him getting married like he took your girl. But the man is extremely talented. So that's what I will have to say about that. I don't want to forecast any ominous type decisions that's going to happen between them. But 22 is super young in his position with all that money he just got to rush it. Like, I would have, you know, suggested that you stay with her for a good 5 years to see if she's still there with all the money that you have. You know, I would have liked to seen that play out. But just to hurry up and get married, I really don't see the reason behind that. I don't. I don't see the reason behind you hurry up and getting married like it's a rush. The paperwork is always going to be there. You know what I'm saying? I just don't get why it has to be so quick and expeditious. I don't see what is the FedEx. You know, why did you have to FedEx this marriage? You know, it's not like it takes away from his freaking talent. The dude is extremely talented in multiple sports. But as his female, she just seems to get a little bit belligerent at times and does not represent him accordingly. But as I say, and like many other people say, it's not up to us to kind of gauge all of it like it's our situation. We can be a fan of Travis, but his girl, I don't know. She something about her, man, that I just can't lock in and be on her side right now. You know, I mean, she's living life. Okay, big. But I just can't lock in on it right now, to be honest. What's good with you? OG Bruce Gas in the building. What's good? What's good? But like I said, I just came on here to talk about this. And you know, I know people thought I was gonna go in depth about it. No, I'm not gonna do that today. I'm not. I just wanted to put it out there that I'll be surprised they make it to 5 years. Okay. I'll be surprised if this lasts 5 years. And if it does, I would like to see if she's gonna have any kids anytime soon. I mean, he gave you the marriage. He hurried up and gave you the marriage. You know, I'm just saying. But y'all take it easy, man. Shout out to the hottest chat in the MF game. And we should do it again. I'm out.